Hey guys, I am doing my emotional abuse healing journey. I am doing healing tool number 4. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, please check them out. I am on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Shine MG Bright. So right now we are working on my emotional abuse healing tool number 4. So healing tool number 1 is to pray for your abuser. Please refer to that video because it is probably going to be hard for a lot of people to grasp. And it's actually the beginning of learning how to forgive. But I want to be cautious with that word forgive because that does not mean to forget or to accept the behavior and the torture and the abuse that you've been through. So once again, pray for your abuser. Number 2 is to avoid your abuser at all costs. Number 3 is to avoid all abusers at all costs. And I do want to touch on that one again. Please refer to all the videos, but this one I want to reiterate is that I do mention that I know I was seasoned. And now that I look back and I've done a lot of research and I realized that I was in denial that I was being abused, and it was so brutal, it's unbelievable. But I was in denial because growing up, I had a lot of toxic people in my life. And I want to be cautious when I say that. I'm not trying to claim I had an abusive family and all my friends were abusive. However, toxic, okay? So you can be seasoned. And this is something that I want everybody to listen to, because people may not understand or realize that if you put down somebody, okay, chances are there's a lot of people putting them down. And I know I've had an issue. I have been hyperactive my whole life. And because of that, I've dealt with a lot of negative reaction from people. And time again, you know, they may not realize what they're doing is really detrimental to my emotional well-being, because they may think, oh, it's no big deal. But they don't understand that when it happens over and over again, it can wear somebody down. And then they will be targeted by somebody who's really wanting to just put them in a situation of complete control. And that's what happened to me. And that's what often happens to people that are abused or emotionally abused. It's part of the stages of what emotional abusive people do. So my emotional abuse healing tool number 4 is to understand and to do research and to completely understand the stages of emotional abusers. Because when I was going to my counselor, one of my favorite counselors, because goodness knows I have freaking tried everything to heal from the torment and the torture and the emotional scars that I'm dealing with. And my favorite counselor, at one point I happened to mention that I thought that my abuser, I thought to myself, was so unpredictable. And in my mind, it was so unpredictable because I'm thinking, how could this person that I thought loved me to no end be capable of trying to cause me so much pain? And for the people that don't understand like how bad emotional abuse is, I mean, we are talking, honestly, the torment was so bad that I seriously thought he just wanted me to kill myself. And it was that bad. So I don't want to get into the details, but it was pretty bad. It was really bad. But the point is that it wasn't always that way. Of course, most of us, because I was super independent. I had already, apparently because of the emotional scars that I had already had from growing up, and I don't want to blame certain people. Some people it was intentional, Some people maybe not intentional, but if you throw it all together and you are put down your entire life, you will walk into an abusive relationship and not even realize it. Because I was in denial. It took a Christian marriage counselor to actually point out that I was being abused and tell me that even though he's a Christian marriage counselor, he would never advise an abused woman to stay in an abusive marriage. And that freaked me out, because I couldn't even believe, as independent as it was, I never thought I was the type of person that would actually be able to be controlled. I was so independent, everything else. So it was an eye-opening moment that I will never forget for the rest of my life. But that also brings up to me, like, how in the world did it happen? Like, how was I so manipulated? And this is what I want to get at. So emotional abuse healing tool number 4 is to do your research on the stage of seduction. So there are stages. It is textbook. So I want to get back to my favorite counselor. When I told her that my ex was so unpredictable, she looked at me and was like, oh gosh, are you kidding me? He is so predictable. And you know what? I had no idea what she meant by that. I'm like, what? To me, I'm like, how is that predictable when he's capable, the person that I thought loved me to no end, that could be capable of doing things that were so horrific and so painful. I couldn't imagine doing the things that he did to me, to my worst enemy. I mean, I just could never imagine purposely wanting to put somebody through as much pain as I've been through. And it brings me to the seduction period. So, and also, this is also such a huge tool, because when I recognized and did my research and realized how textbook my ex really was, it was such a moment of healing, because I was able to cut that chain. I continued, after the severe abuse that I went through, I continued to allow this person in my life. I continued to come back around. I don't know why. I could not completely let him go initially. But I remember the moment I did my research and I understood what the seduction period is all about, I was able to realize that the person I fell in love with never existed. And I know this is going to be really abrupt, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people that are in love with their abusers. The problem is, we are all capable, the ones that are in love with their abusers, we're capable of love. The sad part is, we fell in love with a facade. We fell in love with a person that doesn't exist. Because somebody who would, like, we fell in love with somebody that we thought loved us to no end, that were capable of healthy love. However, part of the seduction period isn't about them loving us to no end, isn't about how much they care about us. The seduction period is about conquering their goal. It's about we're the little red toy that they have to have. That's not love. That is all about them. So and they're going to do whatever it takes to convince, to conquer their goal. And their goal is to gain us. So everything, all those tactics, all the love, all the everything, that was a facade. It was about them gaining control. Because if they truly had love, think about it. If they truly loved you, how could they do the things that they do to you? And I'm sorry, this is really, really, really hard to grasp and understand. But but that's why I'm telling you to please do your research. Don't just take my word for it. Do your research, and you will realize that my counselor that said he was so predictable was 100% on track. Because you know why? When I did my research, I could not believe how textbook my ex was. I mean, to the freaking point that, it's just, you read it and it's unfortunately, it's going to be the same across the board. So please do your research. and realize that if you keep going back and you keep continuing to get yourself abused and you keep going through the torment and you keep falling for their manipulation that they're going to change, blah, 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 whatever, please realize that it's part of their gift of, it's a sad gift, but it's a part of the gift of manipulation and control, because that's the unfortunate thing with emotional abuse, and that is why I'm focusing on it. There's all kinds of, there's physical abuse, obviously, and there's also sexual, there's other kinds of abuse, and often abusers will do all, and often emotional abuse, which happened to me, got physical when you're trying to get out. So their abusers often will take up all the abuse. The problem is I want to focus more on the emotional abuse because it's one that most people do not understand. And that only makes our healing journey that much more difficult, because if people can't grasp it or understand it, it's hard for us, because we need the emotional support, and if we can't get it, we'll never heal. So that is why my emotional abuse healing journey, healing tool developed, because I wanted to get the support and I couldn't get it anywhere, and I tried everywhere. So I'm hoping this is helping you. And so healing tool number 1, pray for your abuser. Healing tool number 2, avoid your abuser at all costs. Healing tool number 3, recognize all your abusers in your life, all the toxic people in your life. And for those that may not be abuse victims and are watching this, please realize that any put down, any negative comment can actually really, really be detrimental to somebody who may be vulnerable, and you might actually be seasoning them for some severe abuse. So please, everyone think about every word that comes out of your mouth, because you'd be shocked how harmful emotional abuse is. And healing tool number 4 is to do your research so you can understand and realize it's an epidemic, and it's actually something that you can recognize. So wishing all well, and God bless.